Let's see, paranormal antagonists find themselves antagonized by the paranormal in our next film review. Hello there to everyone tuning in, and thank you for getting your movie news from both WeLiveFilm.com and RealScreenReviews.com. I am, of course, movie critic Nick Yacobucci, and our next movie review is The Conjuring. This horror and thriller opened in wide release in mid-July 2013, and it stars Vera Farmiga, Patrick Wilson, Ron Livingston, Lily Taylor, and Joey King. The Conjuring comes to us from director James Wan, and he is the previous director of the original Saw and the brilliant Insidious from just a few years back. This filmmaker now returns to the genre of horror to see if he can scare up a hit in the summer movie season. This tale tells of expert paranormal investigators Lorraine and Ed Warren and how they are trying their best to help a family rid themselves of some unwanted and outworldly guests. As this story progresses, the Warrens will have no choice but to confront head-on these supernatural entities, and in the process they will find themselves caught up in the most horrific experience of their lives. Well, people, when I saw the first trailer for The Conjuring, my initial reaction was that this was going to be something extraordinary, and I could not be happier to state that this is not only one great summer movie, but this is actually one of the year's best films thus far. This film is standout in the genre of horror, it's standout in the genre of thriller, and it's also standout in the subcategory of haunted house adventures. You can tell that when watching this movie that the filmmakers knew exactly what kind of movie that they wanted to make, and they did not deviate from that plan for one instant. This is one tight and sharp feature film. Now, the reason that The Conjuring is being praised so highly from me starts with the fact that it is a real movie first. Plot, story, structure, character arcs. This film has all of these elements encompassed in technically a perfect feature. Director Wan could actually strip away all of his jumps and scares, which, by the way, there are many, and you would still have a quality drama being told. Now, believe me when I say that The Conjuring has many moments of terror and fright, but it is so much more than simply that alone. Almost start to finish, Wan continually and expertly conveys this morose mood and tone of dread throughout this entire feature. He persistently shows you that there is so much more to the horror genre than just jumps accompanied by loud thrashes in the musical score. The first part of this film sets up the story and the characters, and then the second half is like this non-stop and constant barrage of thrills, scares, and intensity. The Conjuring is a horror film that is actually frightening, and this is also the best scary movie that I have seen since last year's Sinister with Ethan Hawke. Also, just like the brilliant Sinister, this film is not really graphic or gory, nor does it even need to be. Many times throughout this feature, The Conjuring simply lets the imagination of the viewer take the ball and run with it, and it is very much reminiscent of Jonathan Demme's The Silence of the Lambs, where it lets atmosphere speak volumes for the film itself. I also very much enjoyed how this story used so many widely known cliches so effectively and satisfying. All I can say is that tales dealing with possession, stories about creepy haunted houses, antique toys, and witches are certainly nothing new when it comes to modern movies. However, The Conjuring refreshingly utilizes all of these standard Hollywood plot points. Okay, people, there were just a few minor drawbacks, and I do mean minor. First, The Conjuring really doesn't bring anything original to the horror genre, even though it expertly uses what's already available to it. Next, it pretty much copies Poltergeist, the Amityville Horror, and The Shining, but then again, what horror movie doesn't? At 1 hour and 52 minutes, The Conjuring never felt even remotely long, and that's because it's so intense you don't even care about time when viewing it. I loved the retro 1970s look and feel, and this project actually felt like a scary movie from the 70s like The Exorcist or the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. This film constantly delivers on the scares and never does it shortchange on the terror. The actors are all above average, especially Vera Farmiga and Patrick Wilson, and all of the on-screen talent plays their roles straight and serious to perfect effect. Nick's Real Screen Review is a perfect 4 stars out of 4, and that's for the horror and thriller known as The Conjuring. Well, I'm afraid that's all the time that I have today, and thank you so much for stopping by. If you have enjoyed this review, please click like below or subscribe to either or both We Live Film or Real Screen Reviews if you haven't yet already. I'm sure that I'll be returning soon enough with more movie and trailer reviews, and until then, remember people, this is Nick Yacobucci saying I'm not always right, but only when it comes to the movies, and thank you for your attention.